So, Gearbox just dropped their Phase 3 patch for Seekers of the Storm DLC, the last installment in their quest to fix the DLC over the last year. Phase 3 is focusing on the survivors, so let's take a look at what actually changed. Also, I'm sick, so this video is going to be a little brief. First of all, the big thing, each survivor now has 2 extra skills to unlock and use, which is a big deal. I've always said that alt abilities bring a lot to the game in terms of replayability, and I think these definitely do. They come alongside new achievements to unlock them, which I personally find fun. The survivors themselves have been reworked decently heavily as well, Chef, as you guessed it, being the one touched up the most. His cleavers actually feel decent now, and do damage when they're out and spinning, which is crazy that that wasn't part of the character before. Glaze now has lingering pools that can be affected by fire and ice abilities. Yeah, you heard it, ice. Overall, Chef just feels extremely strong at this point. His new abilities, Icebox and Oil Spill, are both also very good, specifically the ice one. Ice is hands down the most powerful debuff in Risk of Rain, so to see Chef have it definitely means he's automatically included in the gamer group. Icebox chills enemies, which can stack up to freeze, but it can affect glaze and oil puddles, and it can be empowered with Yes Chef to immediately freeze enemies. And you end up freezing a lot of enemies very quickly, which I think is personally kind of crazy. Oil Spill is a spinning jump utility designed to just spread as much oil on the ground as possible to combo off of. Tech point here, you can just scale any wall with it. So there you go. Also, Yes Chef seems to take its passive from the secondary ability you have equipped, which is an interaction we've never seen before. And I think it's very interesting. In one update, Chef goes from one of the worst survivors in the game, actually, no, the worst survivor in the game, to dramatically better than most in the roster. Seeker actually got a lot of changes I'm happy about as well. Meditate actually scales in range as you use it, and it actually does some damage now, which is nice. Previously, it did basically nothing. You can revive teammates and yourself for some reason once per stage at 7 transcendent stacks and above, which is an improvement. It wasn't very clear before. It was only on the 7th stack. I don't like those self-revive personally. I just want to make that clear. Seems like Sojourn scales and self-damage a little better now, which means you don't just AFK in invincible state forever. Also, there's a timeout for it. It seems like her 2 new abilities are a new utility, Reprieve, which similarly puts you into an orb, but summons a tornado on touchdown and has a way faster timeout period. Tornado is kind of cool as well. It's kind of like sucks things up and does damage. And we have a new special Palm Blast, which offers a more combative way to get the Transcendent stacks than playing the Helldivers minigame, just having to pierce through a couple of enemies. Side note, you can charge Palm Blast. I did not know that the first time I played it. Overall, I think taking Seeker more into the direction of active gameplay makes her more fun than sitting in orbs all the time, so I'm happy to see that balance changes reflect this. I definitely like the Survivor more now. False Sun has been changed a bit as well. You can charge your slam while dashing now, which is fun. Your slam now doesn't have an insane 3.0 proc coefficient anymore for some reason. My biggest complaint with False Sun was always the animations and graphics of the character, especially with the melee, but especially with the new abilities, it just feels a lot better to look at. False Sun was always the strongest DLC survivor and might continue to be, but he too gets 2 new abilities. New secondary Lunar Stakes that acts as more of a burst alternative to the needles. Has a big pierce and lightning flashdown. It's pretty strong. And a new dash, Meridian's Will, which is actually just a teleport. Pretty cool. Has some buffer frames on it, which I'm not a super fan of, but his kit is good, and it's still one of the most powerful in the game. Definitely some new playstyles to mess around with here, and I expect there's going to be a lot of new tech and things discovered through these abilities as they're out to the public, so I'm really looking forward to that. Overall, I'm decently impressed with this update. At least Chef and Seeker, it definitely made them more competitive and interesting with the rest of the cast. And the introduction of so many alt abilities practically feels like we have new characters to play with entirely. Some new item balance changes came through as well. Some bug fixing of things here and there, like surprise, you can finally get a drone on abodes now, and the False Sun boss shouldn't infinitely stack his laser damage anymore. So the big question, is Seekers of the Storm worth getting? My personal opinion would be yes. I think it's fun. Reminder, we got 3 new characters with full alt abilities each, new items, new stages, new skins, new boss, new enemies, and new mechanics. Granted, everyone is allowed to feel differently, and the DLC isn't perfect. I know it definitely put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths with the launch Seekers had, but I feel like if you're on the fence and there's time to give this DLC a look over or chance, it's now. At the end of the day, I feel about the same with Hopper's Survivors of the Void. While first DLC had more content across it via items and enemies, I ended up feeling disappointed with the final boss and the insane power creep into the game, and how some awful bugs were introduced, and never thought some macro was worth playing more than once, really. Unfortunately, in Seekers, we still have Halcyonites, and maybe the Fall Sun fight isn't the awesome rival to Mythrix we're hoping for, but I actually do think the content is worth it, even just for the items and survivors at this point, which the items at least are mostly powerful and game-changing. I imagine they'll still be open to fixing things as I continue to report issues and bugs, but this marks the supposed end of the big sweeping redo of Seekers of the Storm. Personally, I want to thank Gearbox and their respective bosses for being actually willing to sit down for 9 months and remake an entire DLC they'd been working on for probably double that amount of time already. It was a bad DLC. They know it, we know it, everyone knew it. But it would have been very easy just to move on to the next thing and just say fuck it. Remaking this DLC probably cost millions of dollars in salaries and opportunity costs and labor and whatever. So that's something to consider as well. Gearbox also flew me out to the offices a few days ago, and I got to meet the devs and the team. So take it from me, they actually do care and are trying. We have this fun relationship where I complain about the game and they say, thank you, we love you, you're the best. So thanks for listening, and thanks for Gearbox for allowing me to help you guys with the DLC in the way I could offer. Everything past Seekers launch, I think Gearbox did as well as they probably could within the realms of my expectation. Let me know what you guys think of the Seekers DLC, and if you ended up picking it up again, and also like if you refunded it the first time it came out, stuff like that. I just like to see the total opinion of my audience on the totality of it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.